Hello friends, welcome. We're at the other computer today, we're at the other desk. It's crazy diorama time and you can actually see the diorama in all its glory. Is that zoomed out? That is maximum zoom out. Maximum zoom out on this diorama. This is the cave of wonders. We're going to do a couple of things today. So as you can see, a lot of progress has been made. We're going to put a few models in so you can see their placement. This one goes here, like so. This one will be glued in. Because there's going to be water on the ground there. So that one's going to go there. So the next thing we need is a little thing for that leg to be standing on. I reckon we'll get away with that one with some rocky outcrops up here. I'll be able to do like a little jutting outy rock, like this guy's climbing down there. Maybe I will actually use that other piece. That would make sense. Yeah, I think I'll grab that other piece in a second. It's definitely somewhere. Yeah, and then this little dude, who I haven't selected his head yet, he stands here. So you can't actually see him at the moment. Don't worry, this isn't finished, but this is moving around. You can't actually see him from there, which is fine. You can see him from there. So he's good. We're then also going to have a little skeleton, the last skeleton here, which I haven't assembled yet, climbing up out of the caverns. So I'm going to put put another gravestone here. Go necro tomb. So we'll do that there. And then the funny thing about this, right? So this is the biggest one I've done, I think, in terms of size. It's probably the tallest. It's probably the tallest because here is the church. And the church sits up here. So you can't even see it. It looks fucking sick. I can move this camera back a little bit, but I won't for the moment. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. So there's 4 models up there, and then down here. So we'll put this down because I don't want to drop that and smash all my resin. People can hear you, Emma. So let's have a little look at this area here. So we've got this dude standing here, which is nice. He's sort of hidden away actually, so you can only see him on certain angles. So this little guy with his horsey, he's up the back here, like so. Let's turn this angle around so you can get a better look on him. It's pretty cool. I've also got this top-down angle if you're interested in seeing the top-down angle. But, yeah. Yep, we've got this little dude who's kind of like the magical summoner of this team. So he sits in here, but I haven't put any, maybe I'll put some stuff in him. Anyway, this whole episode for this morning is just literally, I'll turn this around so you can see me a little bit better. There we go. Yeah, this whole episode is just about probably some basic work on this. Got a few elements to go. Look, let's be realistic, right? there is always stuff to fucking do, tweak, fix, etc. on this kind of project. There is a lot happening. This comes off, by the way. Yeah, it is quite large. It is quite large. My girlfriend always tells me size doesn't matter, does it, Mossy? Quality, not quantity, she reckons. Wish I had either of them. Very good. No, look, mate, you can't put yourself down for a date for something like this. I don't think. You just keep chipping away with the work. There's a little perspective I like to have, which is people always look at the mountain. Right? They see the mountain and they go, I'd love to be on top of the mountain. But they forget about the climb and how long it takes to get up there. They just see the mountain. So in that perspective, in that vein, rather than focusing on the end, I just like to think about things step by step, one little bit at a time. And it'll get there. So at the moment, we're just focused on building of the base and making the base work. So this whole side is all about the swarms of undead. So we've got a skeleton climbing out of the ground over here. Perfect. We've got another skeleton. Where's this one? I think this one's here. Now this guy's holding a banner. In you go, little man. He's running up there with a banner. G'day, Cragzog. G'day, Top. This guy's here. And this horsey guy is here. So this is the undead swarms side. Oh, there's also the ghost chick. She's floating through the building, which is pretty cool, I might add. It looks pretty awesome, but I'm not attaching her. So there you go. Lots of cool stuff on this side of the base. So today I have a few little goals that I want to achieve on this stream. Won't be a long stream today. The first is I just want to solidify the... G'day, Gary. Just want to solidify the basing on a couple. So for example, these little skeletons here, you can't see it, but I've got kneaded, my putty, my hard putty in the ground. So this stuff is called sculptor mold or something else. What's it called? Yeah, it's called sculpted here in Australia, but it's the same stuff that you see cool diorama guys using all the time. It's really, really durable, but when you drill into it, it's kind of like paper mache. I don't know, but when you drill into it, it doesn't feel as rock solid as this kneaded stuff. So what I like to do, where the actual models are standing or coming out of the ground, their bases, I like to put their bases, their feet pegs with kneaded. So I just want to do that here with this guy. And then I want to do it over here with this guy, and then with this guy, and then we will be done on the kneaded front. And then the next thing I want to do is I've got all of my basing bits here. Let's switch camera. Yeah, so I've got some Got my dirt. Got this green flock. Let me tell you a story about this flock actually, because this is a fun story. This flock I bought when I was 12 years old, 13 years old. This was actually the first thing I ever bought from Dragon's Keep. So flock and a box of Empire halberdiers. This flock cost $6, I reckon. $6 or $7 back then. And I've had that since that. So this flock is something close to 30 years old. So there you go. I like to include a little bit just for fun. Anyway, I got some more grass and stuff. Yeah, if you would like to see the stairs, Gary, let's have a look at the stairs, shall we? Let's show those off. So here's the stairs. So there's your stairs. These go all the way up to this flat area here, and the flat area does in fact include this church. Now I haven't glued this down because I'm not an absolute lunatic, and being able to paint this bit separately is going to be crucial. So, but yes, so the area that you see there attaches to there. So the height of it is just outrageous. Have I got my tape measure over here? I do have my tape measure over here. Let's measure it together. It is 70 centimetres wide by 28 centimetres deep, and the actual height all the way to the top of the roof is 55 centimetres. Shipping this will be fun. No, so I'm probably actually going to leave this detached for shipping. I think I can make that durable enough to ship by itself. So I think shipping this is actually relatively square. It's sort of a box. And we've got a pretty solid base, so fun. Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna do the knead it, and then we're gonna start doing some dirt and stuff over here. You can't really see, I've obviously started adding little rocks. These are my aquarium rocks. These are almost as old as the things. I bought these around 2000. So, and I've had this entire bag. It was full to the brim, and I've used this on pretty much every army that I've ever done, a Warhammer. And now I've used it for a lot of dioramas, and I've still got nearly half a bag. It's outrageous. I mean, it's actually not that heavy, right? Like the wood is a little heavy, but this is a lot of foam. So probably, interestingly, this and this weigh about the same at the moment because there's a lot of resin there, quite a huge chunks of resin. So, yeah, we'll see. The fog machine's going to go in this Tolo. Maybe. We may not go with the fog machine. I'd like to try it at least. I'm just worried about residue. I'm worried about residue now. This is definitely the most figures so far. This is 13, I think, or maybe 14. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yep, so this is 14 figures. Gary, we'll see if it goes to a collector, mate. We'll see. So I'm in a very fortunate position where I have a collector who very much enjoys these projects that I do. However, I think it's very important for me not to expect to be able to sell everything. You know, like I have. But that doesn't mean that I will, right? So I like to just not think about trying to sell it. Just think about making something really cool. And If I'm able to sell it, great. If not, great. I love these projects. I haven't seen any of my projects for a long time. One day soon, I'm going to go to Las Vegas. I'm going to be able to see all these big dioramas, and I'm just going to go, "What an absolute fucking lunatic you are, Dano." You can't really see what I'm doing. Cool. My face is in the way. All right. Should I move my face? I'll turn my face off. Yes, Necrotomb. They are all in Las Vegas at Verco's Vault. For the moment. I mean, I say for the moment. I don't think they're going to be going anywhere, but yeah. Ah, come on, Dano. Get it together. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this, foot? Why? I have no idea why you're doing that. It will indeed be open very, very soon. Get out of the way. I'm hoping to get over there for the opening. Why are you not sticking down? Maybe it's because of that. So I'm not sure exactly how many's there now, but Camelot's there. Neon Knights will be there. Hyperborea's there. A couple of the other ones are there. Alright, that'll do. Yeah, check it out. Look, I've seen videos of Gary's collection and it's just outrageous. Like it's almost incomprehensible how many figures he's got. And yeah, feel very fortunate to be a part of it. Very fortunate to be a part of it. There's a lot of artists' work there that I've just admired and been inspired by for a long time. So. Well, we've joked that there's going to be a Deno wing. Like, yeah. But yeah, as I said, it's super important that I don't get the perspective that every single diorama that I make is just going to get fucking sold every time. It doesn't. Doesn't mean that. And I don't make stuff like this with the perspective of I want it to get sold. And I think if I did, I would lose, first of all, some of the joy that comes from making these things. And yeah. How many do I have? How many dioramas do I have? How many have I done? I have 0. I can show you my cabinet actually. Can I turn this around, I think? Yes, I can turn that around. Yeah, I have 0 on display at my house, but at Burko's Vault, there's probably, I don't know, we'd be close to 100 pieces there, I would think. All right, let me just see if I can add. Mossy, make sure you cover it up. You'd have to make your breakfast. All right, well. All right, that's my cabinet. You can't really see my cabinet there, but if you're gonna be, are you wearing clothes, Mossy? No. All right, well, don't come on screen.
Turn the camera around, I'll move the chair.
All right, I've turned the camera around for the moment. Put some clothes on, woman. Oh, thank you. All of my Kingdom Death stuff on one shelf, and then all of my Marvel Crisis Protocol, and then up the top is just like my display stuff that has not yet sold. So that's literally the only stuff I've got on display at my house. I did used to have a lot more stuff there. That's all of my Kingdom Death girls. The painter's scale stuff. Yeah. You got a beautiful one last night, Top, or whenever you got it. She doesn't trust me. She's closing the door. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, what was that figure? It was awesome. Yeah, it's a beautiful figure. Anyway, if we're fortunate enough to have someone interested in this diorama and we sell it, great. G'day, Xtab. But that's not why we do these things, and I think it's important to keep that in the forefront of your mind. We're not building stuff to sell it. We're building stuff because it's cool. And fun. And we want to... Yeah, number one's awesome, Top. It is Xtab, yeah, it is pretty big. Interesting question from Insantium. What are the two best techniques a painter should learn if they want to paint faster? Well, when I set up my Patreon later in the year, I'll be able to answer that in more detail. But I would probably suggest airbrushing is airbrushing is one of the things you can do to get a lot faster. Absolutely. But it's also like, it's just brush control. Like, people watch me paint and they're like, your brush moves so fast. Yes, it does. Yeah, top of the list probably on point there. Layering and an airbrush. Alright, that is all of that thing that I need to do. So we've got to think about the dirt now. So great observation. Generally, you can have three things. You can have your three things you talk about: fast, good, and cheap. You don't often get all three. The plaster is a material called Sculpt It, which I believe in other places is called Sculpt a Mold. I will actually be mixing some of that up soon, so I'll show you that. I think at this point in the process, I don't feel over my head because I'm still just too excited about the project. It's usually at about a third of the way in, or the painting. The painting is when I start to feel over my head. Like, painting something this size is just, it's a whole nother task. Yeah, I will show off some of the sculpted very soon. Most of this stuff, like this is obviously milliput, but most of this stuff is kneaded, built up over layers of um, putty. Foam. Haha, don't worry. Well, I'm here to tell you you've got great news. I have been making a video on this entire process. So I have filmed everything that you have seen, that you see in front of you. Yeah, so everything that you can see, I'll be doing a video on. Yep. Mossy, are you watching this?
Show me the camera.
Okay. Can you grab the vacuum cleaner? Because I just need to vacuum up this stuff. Semi-serious about the Patreon. Thank you. Semi-serious. Semi-serious about the Patreon. Cool. Look, I go back and forth on it, right? Because I don't want this to ever feel like I'm not having fun. You know? But at the same time, I'm about to be unemployed. So this is not helpful, Dano. Get that out of the way, you idiot. I think it's either a 0.5 or a 0.3 on the two airbrushes that I use, but the one that I've been using more regularly recently is actually the 0.5, yes. Which is in my Iwata HP something. Yes, so the video I have recorded, it's also been very helpful because it's also tracked exactly how much time I've spent. Assembling the models doesn't actually take that long. It's funny, I always felt like assembling models was just a fucking time-consuming exercise, but it's not really. It's like 10 minutes, 15 minutes a model. This is isopropyl alcohol. That does not include gap filling, no. I have not done that yet. That was actually going to be what I was going to do this morning, but I decided to do this instead. So this Knead It, which we're going to mix up and use some soon, I like for a rock texture. But I don't like for ground texture as often. Switch to camera. Sort of trying to have a little path from the yeah, from here. No, it works fine. It works fine for ground. I don't know. I think texture is a really important component of figures. You know, you need to have a variety of textures, and so by having your ground and your rocks be slightly different textures, I think it helps. Or every single Marvel Crisis Protocol model that I painted was a lot of airbrushing. So if you go back to, when was that? About end of 2022, start of 2023, I did a lot of airbrushing on Marvel Crisis Protocol, so you can actually watch me doing it. Raw. Cool. Cool. So those two guys are good. We'll just put this down so we can, yeah, so we'll do all this. Oops, didn't want to put any stuff there, that's okay. This bit's obviously a river. I think I talked about that before, but yeah, it's a river flowing through the graveyard. That's why there's a bridge. I'm sure that surprises absolutely no one, but there you go. This is just dirt I got from the ground, by the way, the backyard. And I left it to dry for quite a long time. It was quite moist. Can't remember if I actually put it in the oven or something. I don't think I did, but I definitely put sticks and stuff in the oven for dioramas. That's a great question, mate. They don't normally, no. But usually it's sealed. So it doesn't create problems when it's sealed. Oops. Good one, Deno. Mossy keeps running because she thinks I'm going to put her on camera. Don't ya? Camera shy. Please. So the advantage of doing this, friends, what I'm doing now with the dirt and then sealing it with the watered down PVA is it makes for a much more durable result, which is good. But the second thing is that the PVA is also going to absorb into the Sculpted, which will also create a much more durable finish on that. So, which, believe it or not, is important. Okay. So I think we will hold on anything back there. So let me, oh, chick's in here the whole time. Nice one, Dano. We're just going to do a little bit of sculptor mould. I'm sure you can tell that this entire process is very, very time consuming, labour intensive. So you can see down here we've got some sculptor mould required on these little bits of rock and potentially just up here. Do I want to do that now? Yes, maybe. Yep, but let's do it this way. All right, let's mix some sculptor mold. You're going to have to miss me while I'm doing this. I'm just going to talk about what's happening. So I'm going to get one of these plastic cups. Then I'm going to get the sculptor mold material stuff, which looks like this. It's just like a dried powdery stuff. And then we're going to mix in some water, which I'm doing over here at my tap. And here we go. Here is the said watery stuff mixed in with the sculptor mold. Then you get yourself a paddle pop stick and you mix this water and this stuff. I may have added a little bit too much water, have I? Oh no, we're probably okay. Maybe a smidge too much water, that's alright. And we get this goop. And so this goop you put it on these things and it's going to turn into a rocky looking thing. Here's a little special Deno tip. I've used, I use this actually. I've used aluminium foil to, I don't actually need it there, Deno. It's a waste of good stuff. Yeah, aluminium foil to build up the texture of, or the shape. I haven't used foam. Just going to use my hand. No, I've definitely gone too watery on this actually. I was worried that I would need to go back and add more water. So this is very much background detail, right? So I don't need this to be interesting and detailed. I just need it to have some sort of texture because it's going to be very dark. I still haven't decided if we're going to light this area up with some lighting. We may do. It probably would crack off the wood, but I'll be able to seal it down with PVA glue, which is what I'll do afterwards. As I'm sure you've figured out now, the size of this creates its own unique challenges. This is a very watery version of the mixture that I normally use. It sometimes adheres a little bit better than this is. But that's okay. Not doing a real great job of showing what I'm doing on camera, am I? No, Dano, you're fucking shit. Oh no. Can't go in there, sculpt the mould. It's taken me about 6 or 7 days to get the base to this stage, taking multiple things each day, just adding a little bit, building it up, moving on, so on and so forth. So this is just a exercise in patience. However, once it's all done, this stuff makes for a very durable base to work from, which you can then add ancillary details. We measured it just before Xtab. It is 70 centimeters long, 30 centimeters deep, and 55 centimeters tall. So I think it is my largest diorama thus far. Just going to wash my hand, friends. Hands. Yeah, excessive size is what I would say. Excessive. Mossy's being a pest. Aren't you, Mossy? G'day, Sean. Armies on Parade is 61 by 61 or 76 by 56 mil. There you go. So does that mean I would just scrape into the Armies on Parade? 76 by... Yeah, I would. I'd just scrape in. Look at me go. All right, the last thing I might do for today, as I said, friends, is just an exercise in patience, right? Because you just gotta take your time, let things dry. Is I'll get some filler and I'll fill this edge. Oh no, Dano, don't do that. You fucking dickhead. Yeah, that angle's better. Yeah, I'm going to fill it and sand it, my friend. Mostly because I've got the time. Turn my face off. Yeah, I've got the time for it to dry. I'm not on a... Maybe this was the wrong choice. Couple of layers of this stuff. Sand it down. Nice. This is what I did on the outsides of Hyperborea. It came out okay. I actually used the this stuff for texture on the base as well. Multi-purpose filler anyway. I started this on Saturday, friends, I think. Yeah. I did start it on Saturday, but then I was in Hobart for half the week. Come on, Dano. Fucking get your shit together, son. I really need some paper towel over here. That would be helpful. Wet paper towel. I think this one is actually less complex than Neon Knights was to build, which is interesting. But there's a lot less, I guess, small details on this. There will probably end up being a lot more natural elements. A lot more natural elements. Come on, idiot. Get it together, son. Knowing that I'm going to sand this smooth afterwards. Attempt to sand it smooth. Come on, idiot. You're just making it worse. You're just making it worse, Dano. Stop. Stop what you're doing. Anyway, there we go. That is all for today, Freds. That is all. We have to be patient. We have to wait for this to now dry. I'll turn my face back on so you can see me. Hello, yes. So now we just wait. We're just going to wait. Just going to be patient. Just going to let all the stuff we did today dry. Hopefully it'll be dry by tonight. I can do a little bit more stuff tonight. Continue the wonderful construction of this base. As you've seen, all the models have got locations now. We've got spots for them, which means at some point we can start the painting, but we probably won't start that for quite some time. I think I want to have everything on this built. Everything on this built, I think, is our goal. So there's nothing left. I just can't leave it alone. I'm glad to hear you're excited for it. Sometimes I feel like I am a little bit off tap when I do this project, and that it's only me that gets excited for them, but I guess that's all that really matters, is that I'm excited for them. But yeah, it's cool to hear other people enjoy watching this sort of stuff. Yes, indeed. Well, yeah, if we want, maybe this will be some more stuff we'll do tomorrow night. Cool. So that'll dry. We'll sand that smooth, and then we'll start on the back, which I'm going to need to fill with some air dry clay, I think, because there's a little bit more of a gap at the back. A little bit more, bit of a gap here. So maybe I'll fill that with clay. Let's probably just do it with filler. It's only like, yeah, 0.5 centimetre. Cool, all right, we'll let all this dry. We'll let all this settle. And then we'll continue adding the ground texture. I'm then going to probably add some more. You can see here how I made, yeah, we've got to fill in that foam. You can actually, I'll just show you this whilst I'm here and then I'll finish up. You can actually see how I made the staircase. It's actually paddle pop sticks that I cut and glued into shape, and then I actually just added alfoil in between the gaps, and then I just knead it to the top. It's ended up being very, very sturdy, which I wasn't expecting, so good work, mate. And then yeah, some resin bits. We'll fill this with some PVA glue and some stuff. It's very sturdy, this one. Very sturdy. All right, that's it. I'm off. Have a fantastic week, friends. I'll be back tomorrow night doing this probably, continuing this wonderful project. I have basically finished the Mineworks one. In case you missed it, the Kickstarter is now live. Early bird Kickstarter, so you want to get on that while you can. Yeah, that's it. I'll catch you all tomorrow night, friends. See you then. Big Dino out.